In this video, Medicare Advantage sales versus final expense sales, we're going to talk about some major differences between the two, of course, including the best leads for one versus the other, which of these two products is easier to sell and why, the best way to get free leads and make easy sales without any pushing, and why you should probably be selling both items, both of these products versus one or the other. But first, please give this video a big old thumbs up and subscribe with the notifications turned on so that you're notified when we put out new content. Let's roll that intro and rock and roll, baby. I'm Doug Massi, and thanks for checking out our channel. Now, some of the things that we're going to be talking about in this very important video are how the renewals work, first of all, between both Medicare Advantage and different Medicare products actually, and versus final expense. And we're also going to talk about that AHIP test. Now, that's kind of important, and the annual requirements that the carriers want and that you'll need to sell the Medicare products, mainly Medicare Advantage. We're also going to talk about the right leads for both, including about how you can easily generate some really good quality leads yourself. And most important, we're going to talk about a CRM that we use that is completely unique, a total game changer. So I've never used a CRM for final expense. But for Medicare Advantage, the CRM that we put together, it's unbelievable. We're going to talk a little bit about that. But first, I'm going to say, if you can stick around to the end of this video, I've got two really good tools that you're going to love: the Living Will Kit and the Last Will and Testament. And these are two items that I give out to everybody that I sell to. You can also use them to help you build rapport. But for whether you're selling Medicare Advantage, Medicare products, or you're selling final expense, both of the items are awesome. You'll definitely want to give them to all of your clients. The AHIP test for Medicare Advantage is something you hear people talk about. It tends to be pretty difficult. You got to get a really good high grade, and in most cases it does take a lot of studying and a lot of work. Now, let me just step back real quick and say, one thing that we've put together, and this is pretty sweet, is a system where you'll literally be able to study 2 to no more than 3 hours a day, 5 days a week, basically putting in between 10 and 15 hours of study time, and we're going to guarantee that you pass the test by using our system. This thing is unbelievable what we're going to do to help you guys pass the test. So if you're one of our agents, and you're maybe working our free Medicare Advantage lead program, I'll show you how to do all of that stuff. But one of the important things I think a lot of people don't realize is with Medicare Advantage, you have to take that AHIP test every single year, one. And two, you actually need to do specific qualifying, I want to use the word test, the right word's not coming to mind, for the carriers. So generally we recommend, we treat you're an independent agent. Your commissions are as high as they're going to get. Your renewals are full renewals from day one. But all the carriers have these different requirements. And so every year you have to redo those requirements. They're not real difficult. They're actually pretty easy. And that's something that we help our agents with too. One of the very important differences between Medicare Advantage and final expense, and this is something nobody talks about. Let me ask you a question. I want you to think about this. Right now, assuming you're an insurance agent, if you were to die today and you're selling life insurance products, I'm assuming you have a beneficiary all set up, so they'll actually receive your months 10, 11, and 12, any money that's owed to you, any renewals for the rest of your life. So that's pretty simple. But with Medicare Advantage, it's a completely different ballgame. Because remember, I just explained how in order to stay compliant, you have to do the AHIP every year and you have to do the carrier training every year. So if you were to pass away and you're selling Medicare products and you don't have it already set up, those lifetime renewals we're going to talk about here in a minute are going to be gone. They go away. The nice thing is with Medicare Advantage, it's really not that hard to set it up to where somebody gets it. So in other words, a lot of agents are realizing, wow, I'm in trouble. My wife is in trouble. My kids are in trouble if something happens to me. All this money that we're making, that we're going to be getting for the rest of our lives, it's gone. it doesn't have to be that way. And it's pretty simple. So let me just say, all the carriers have these little slightly different requirements. But in a nutshell, your spouse, or it doesn't have to be your spouse, your beneficiary will actually get everything as long as they're licensed and they do the AHIP and they do it every year and they do the carrier training every year. That way they'll be paid, no questions asked. Now there's other requirements. The carriers all want it a little different. Some are going to want like you to, when you sign on to them, for you to put the beneficiary information. Others will take a simple will, but they're all a little bit different. So that's something that is going to vary from carrier to carrier. A main difference between selling Medicare Advantage and selling final expense, and this is kind of the way I look at it. The ideal scenario, and it's hard. It's not easy for everybody to do this. Certainly, I haven't been able to do it this way. I started with final expense, and now we are working into Medicare Advantage sales. But of course, the ideal scenario is you're selling both. Why? Because right off the bat, the final expense, the life insurance sales are going to get that 9 months advance, that big upfront money. And if you're working with a company like us, your first year commissions for the products are going to be anywhere from like 100 to potentially over 120, even as high as 130%, depending on what you're bringing to the table, how much you're selling, etc. In most cases, our typical new agent, the commissions are going to be right around 100, 110%, maybe even higher with one of the other carriers. So at least you're getting top contracts, top upfront advance monies. And when you think about that, 9 months advance is really, really, really nice. So, and let me just do some simple math. So let's say you make a decent sale, a decent one, higher than average, $100 premium. You sell Mr. Jones a $50 sale and Mrs. Jones a $50 sale. Together, it's $100 monthly premium between the two of them. And your first year commission is 100%. So you're going to be advanced 100 times 12, that's 1,200. You're going to be advanced 9 months. So you're going to be advanced $750 on that sale right from day one, which is really nice. And then months 10, 11, and 12, you're going to get the other 250 broken up into 3 pieces. And then you'll get a renewal. The renewals from a lot of the final expense products isn't real big. They're going to be around 5 to maybe 8%. Is kind of typical. Some products even less. And I hate to say it, if you're with a multi-level marketing organization that have worked out a deal, like some of these companies work out these deals with like Mutual of Omaha, where you're getting nothing. You could end up having a 110-point contract and getting like 1% renewals. Seriously. So you should always check your commissions to make sure that you're actually getting what you think that you're getting. Now, as far as the Medicare Advantage, instead of getting the big money up front, you're getting a small piece up front, but you're also getting a piece every year, which works out to be real huge. So I'll give you a quick example. So you're not going to get a lot of these if you use our system, but every now and then, and if you're generating your own leads the way that we teach you how, you are going to get a sale. Right now, for the first year advance monies for a brand new turning 65 Medicare Advantage client is going to be $539. So you turn that person turning 65, their first Medicare Advantage plan, you get your $539 up front. Next year, it's going to be around $20, $25 more. So you get that upfront money, and then every year they stay with you for the life of the client. If it's 15, 20 years, you're getting $270 a year. Over a 10-year period, you're getting no less than $2,700. And the reason I'm using that number is because most, like our leads, the way we sell Medicare Advantage, we actually target the lower income folks, and in most of them, you could actually sell all year long. You don't have to wait till the annual enrollment or the open enrollment. You can sell them all year long, which is really nice. So most of those sales are going to be $270 for that first year, not the $539, but the $270 for the first year and $270 for the life of the client every single year. So again, final expense, nice big upfront check. Medicare Advantage, you got the mediocre upfront check, but then you get that piece. And long term, it blows away the final expense. As far as leads are concerned, you can work all kinds of different lead programs, but the two main leads for final expense and Medicare Advantage sales between the two of them are going to be your typical, your classic direct mailer, the direct mail lead, which is the king of lead. They're the ones that are a little more expensive and maybe even harder to get depending on what areas you live in, and the Facebook lead. So let's just talk about the Facebook lead real quick, because the thing I love about Facebook leads, one, you can buy them for about half the cost of a direct mail lead. Now, there's some disadvantages about the Facebook leads. The disadvantages are, with direct mail, you can target a closer area to where you live, to where you want to work. With Facebook leads, it's more wide open. So you're looking at more travel. So, you know, your pros and cons are really, to me, the main thing is with the Facebook leads, your cost is going to be lower, so your return on investment should potentially be a little bit better, but then you're kind of having to drive at a disadvantage. You're kind of having to drive a little further. And if you're living in a place, example, I don't know, Kentucky, where things are kind of spread out, or you're in Kansas, it's going to be tougher. The Facebook leads are going to be tougher. But now here's what I love about Facebook leads. So with Medicare Advantage sales, it's really, and you can do this with final expense, but mainly Medicare Advantage sales, you can buy a program. There's people that will teach you how to generate your own leads for around $1,000. A lot of these programs cost thousands, but you should be able to find something. We've got someone that does it for right around $750, and they do it for mainly final expense. But when you incorporate what they teach you to Medicare, it makes it real easy too. So the nice thing about why you want to generate your own Facebook leads for mainly Medicare is because now you're picking the ad, you're doing the verbiage, so the cost per lead is probably going to be more, but you're going to be able to generate better quality, and here's the big part. You're going to be able to target those turning 65. Those people that, like I mentioned, maybe they have never had a Medicare Advantage plan before, and now you're the first person there. And it's cool. The way you can run the ads is it's all information. I'm just here to help you and answer your questions. And what's going to happen is once you help these people and explain to them, because think about it, they're turning 65, they don't know how Medicare really works. It's a little bit of a complicated process. So you're going to explain to them their options, how Medicare Advantage works, maybe versus Medicare supplements. You're going to explain everything to them. You're going to educate them on this. You're going to be building their trust, and it's just going to make it so much easier for them to become your client. That's what I love about the Facebook leads. Now, direct mail leads, like I said, you can localize the areas better, and there's something else you can do. In a lot of cases, and it's not always the same, because like I mentioned, Kentucky is kind of like the final expense gold mine. Like most zip codes are pretty much the same, but if you go to a state like Florida, and I'm building up to this, you go to a state like Florida, there are areas where you just need to totally avoid, and then there's other areas that are easier to sell in. So with direct mail leads, in most cases, you can actually target the better zip codes versus the entire counties, and you can't do that with Facebook. So that right there is why I say you can keep the leads more localized. So you're going to pay more. Now, the second thing about them, you can door knock either lead. And if you work the Facebook leads the way that you're taught to work them, which is immediately, you don't sit on them for 2 weeks, then you're going to do fine with them with door knocking. With direct mail leads, the shelf life is a lot longer. So like the first final expense sales that I ever made were actually off of a bunch of leads that I got that were over 2 years old. And I made my first at least 2, maybe 3 sales with them. So again, my point is the shelf life on direct mail leads is really good, as to where Facebook leads, you kind of got to get out there and hit them real quick. But one of the things I love, and this is why the shelf life is so good, because with a direct mail lead card, you can show them the actual card when you door knock it. So they see their handwriting, they see their information, everything on it, real clear with their own, like I said, handwriting on it. And with Facebook leads, you can do a printout of the ad and the landing page so they see the information they actually put on it, and this helps. But again, it's not their actual handwriting, so again, that's where your shelf life issue comes from. So basically, the bottom line is this. If you're selling both products, The direct mailers are the way to go because you can target final expense, you can do final expense leads, direct mailers, and it's going to target both the people that buy final expense and the people that do Medicare Advantage. And the nice thing about selling Medicare Advantage is once the client is actually yours, it's pretty difficult to be uncompliant. You're already compliant. They're your client. You can speak with them about Medicare Advantage. Now you can't do it, you want to follow the rules, and compliance rules state that you cannot do a final expense and a Medicare Advantage sale like at the same appointment. So you need to reset it. You need to get your signatures up front. If you don't know what I'm talking about, keep watching our videos and you'll understand exactly what I'm talking about. That way you can go back to the house and explain to them how Medicare works and go over their plan, what they have, and potentially see if you can actually give them a much better Medicare Advantage plan than the one that they have. I mentioned a CRM earlier. I am not a CRM person. Well, I wasn't, and now I am. We've developed this CRM specifically for you. And when I say you, for either A, the final expense agent that's getting into Medicare Advantage, or B, the agent that's getting into final expense and Medicare, or C, the agent that's just doing Medicare Advantage. You're able to leave voice recordings, your own voice, with different messages that'll automatically be sent out and, check this out, dropped right into your client's voicemail. So on their birthday, they're getting a happy birthday message from you. Really, really, really nice automation. They're getting emails when you want to send them emails. You're getting reminders to give them a call on their birthday, and maybe go out a year later and, I don't know, maybe let's say if it's a Medicare client, go over their plan, make sure they understand everything, and go over their final expenses. Do they have something? If not, well, you may just have an opportunity that you can do compliantly, and when I say do compliantly, that you can sell them a new policy compliantly. Guys, for a copy of the First Will and Testament that I mentioned earlier, along with the Living Will kits, and both of them are really kind of kits that you can print out and give to your clients, just shoot me an email at doug@ufesonline.com. For more information on joining our sales platform and becoming, really, we can teach you how to do any level you want. If you want to be a top producer, we'll show you what you have to do for that. If you just want to be an average agent, you want to specialize in one product or the other, we can help you with that. Just shoot me an email at that same address. Remember, guys, when you put the needs of your clients first, everything else will usually fall right into place. So get on out there, guys, and do something good for someone today. Happy hunting.